I watch the data streams on my multiple cogitator screens with cold detachment. I can feel the data sets as they flow through all the channels. I move through exablocks of information. Like an ancient ocean predator of the now extinguished Terran seas, I look, am hunting. My name is Oterion, and use my mind to end the enemies in the dark. I had spent months infiltrating the data networks of the renegade planetary governor, sifting through exabytes of encrypted information, planting false leads and subtle manipulating information, each time shifting reality to my will, as there will never be peace with the enemies of the Emperor. A new mission and a new target. This is what I got where this all started. Same protocol as always. Leave nothing behind, and we were never there. I had learned everything about his target, the planetary governor, a fat, lazy traitor that had started to sell unlisted weapons production to renegades outside his system in Ossaria. 6. I knew his habits, his allies, his enemies, his weaknesses. I had calculated the optimal time and place to strike. I needed to erase him while leading the attack back to the renegades, hitting all the pieces at once. I arranged for the necessary events to unfold, breadcrumbs of data planted in data vaults. After I surveyed the networks, I had contacted a disgruntled officer in the governor's personal army who had access to his private quarters. There is always at least one. I convinced him to plant a micro-explosive device under the governor's bed, disguised as a power cell. He thought he was doing good. He thought he was helping by adding a redundancy for energy input for emergencies. He didn't even suspect a thing. He thought it was part of the governor's new lifestyle. He didn't even hesitate. After that, I hacked into the governor's personal Vox communicator and sent him a message from a fake lover. As these kind of people always have many, there are patterns and patterns above patterns. Most of humanity lives within the movement of a great pattern. The fake lover, who he most likely forgot about but was happy to know about again, was inviting him to a secret rendezvous, a most secret and interesting meeting. He couldn't resist. I had ensured that the governor's security detail would be distracted by a staged riot in the capital city, orchestrated by a local rebel cell that, of course, I had funded and armed, moving local Vanus Temple assets and allocating the credits in the right hands. Armed with weapons bought from the same corrupted traitor outfit, nothing traces back to me. But my pieces move at my will, and events unfold as I create reality with my intellect and actions. I had done all this without ever leaving the Vanus Temple on Terra. You wouldn't even believe me if I told you where it was, without ever seeing his target's face, without ever firing a single shot. I am a Vanus assassin. I kill with information. I grabbed a snack and watched as the governor entered his quarters, alone and unsuspecting. Watching it all from secondary camera feed for the report, of course, as it does well to remain humble in the Emperor's server. He watched as this disgusting, traitorous pig lay down on his bed and reached for his Vox communicator. I watched as the micro-explosive device detonated, reducing him and his bed to ashes. Then I watched as the officer who planted the device was arrested by loyal troops and executed for treason. Can't have any loose ends. This must be clean. The rebel cell was crushed by the now former governor's forces, and their leader revealed to be an agent of chaos. That's what all the data they had said. I watched as the planetary region, almost continent-wide, descended into chaos and civil war, ripe for an imperial invasion that to an untrained eye would have looked like a coincidence that a crusading imperial fleet was 72 hours away. I watched and smiled. He had completed his mission. The target was gone, the greater danger erased. Nobody knew it was me. He had served the Emperor from the shadows within the data streams. He is a Vanus assassin. I move behind the shadows of scrap code and data flow. I create reality and bring the entire world to the ground. I protect the Imperium from the shadows. I am an InfoCyte from the Vanus Temple, and you will never see me. Welcome back, my friends. Today, we will venture into the depths of the Temple of the Vanus Assassins, the intel and data-oriented deadly operatives from the Officio Assassinorum. Let us get into what they do and who they are. Remember to subscribe and leave a like if you had fun as well, and letting me know what you think in the comment. And now let's start. The Vanus Assassins are one of the temples of the Officio Assassinorum, the secretive agency of the Imperium of Man that employs extremely well-trained killers to eliminate threats to the Emperor's will and the Imperium. They are tasked to take down enemy command structures, these being traitors, renegades, or alien, as it makes no difference. All enemies of the Emperor will fall when faced with the Officio Assassinorum. The Vanus clan was founded in a secret location on Terra at the behest of the Grand Master of Assassins, and was entrusted, as were all assassin clades, with eliminating those who opposed the formation of the Imperium of Man and the Emperor's will. The Vanus clan was renowned for its ability to eliminate adversaries of the Imperium through the manipulation of data as opposed to the use of lethal force. Unbeknownst to anyone outside their temple, the Vanus oversaw all components of the Imperium, including the other assassin temples. Their cogitator stacks were filled with terabytes of data on the operations and personnel of every temple. Blackmail was the means by which they maintained their position within the Officio Assassinorum, when their operatives specialized in non-lethal operations. Throughout the Horus heresy, the assassin clades were tasked with assassinating the traitor Primarch Horus. Each clade sent their most talented pupils into the proverbial meat grinder blind and unprepared. Every blow against Horus was thwarted, and he brushed off these assassination attempts without a second thought. There has never been a target in the history of the Council of Assassins whose retirement required more than one mission to pursue. The Horus problem ultimately claimed the lives of 8 Officio Assassinorum agents from each of the 6 primary clades. The Sigillite demanded a solution to rid the Imperium of the erratic and rebellious son of the Emperor. The Vanus Temple was originally the Vanus Clade, created during the Great Crusade in the late 30th millennium by Malcador the Sigillite, the Regent of Terra and the Grand Master of Assassins. After the Horus heresy, the Vanus Clade became the Vanus Temple and continued to serve as the intelligence-gathering arm of the Officio Assassinorum. The Vanus Temple employs operatives known as InfoCytes, which are essentially human computing engines, but on the complete opposite end of the spectrum as the unthinking cybernetic constructs known as servitors. In matters of strategy and tactics, InfoCyte insight was unparalleled. Their existence cemented the Vanus Temple as the Officio Assassinorum's intelligence-gathering faction. It was stated that they had never been known to make a judgment error. Some viewed this as little more than disinformation. However, the creation and dissemination of propaganda was also one of the Vanus Temple's fundamental competencies. The Vanus also employs operatives known as cryptocrats, whose primary responsibility is to provide the means for securing internal communications. This is achieved by encrypting data with cryptographic algorithms, transmitting it in an encrypted state, and decrypting it upon receipt. Cryptographers are also adept at deciphering and decrypting the encryption of protected data and determining whether or not the data has been altered by external forces. InfoCytes and cryptocrats conduct the majority of their operations via telepresentation, either directly from a Vanus sanctum or aboard an Officio-approved starship. For most Vanus operatives, the thought of physically deploying into the field is profoundly unsettling. InfoCytes are also skilled in hacking through secure, networked cogitator communications and data management systems to obtain encrypted information through signals and electronic intelligence. InfoCytes can use their data skills to incite rebellions, inspire lone wolf assassins, plant false leads, hack into enemy systems, intercept transmissions, and wreak havoc on mechanicum automata. InfoCytes can complete their missions without ever leaving their temple on Terra, without ever seeing their target's face, without ever firing a single shot. The Vanus Assassins use advanced augury equipment that can peer into the noosphere, the veil of communication between machines and their controllers, and twist transmissions to their own ends. They also use micro-explosive devices that can be disguised as power cells or other innocuous objects and detonated remotely or by a trigger. They wear stealth suits that can blend into any environment and carry neural shredders that can overload the nervous system of any living target. Vanus agents frequently conceal bronze vents beneath their hair in the back of their cranium, where memory implants, interface sockets, and data filia gleam. In contrast to the cohorts of the Adeptus Mechanicus, whose cybernetic augmentations are frequently overt and blatant, InfoCytes' cybernetic enhancements are typically subtle and nuanced. InfoCytes are also adept at acquiring information by penetrating local sensor networks, which presents only a minor obstacle for one of these operatives. This is accomplished by dispatching a small swarm of organic metal, netfly, automata, to gnaw on any optical cables they encounter and transmit back to their handler any rich data flows they discover. Each netfly is a relatively simple device on its own, but when networked collectively, the information the swarm returns can be combined to form a detailed image of what was occurring in the surrounding area. Our operative could compile maps of nearby structures and traffic flows and then decipher the encoding of several hundred monitor beads strewn across a city zone. InfoCytes also carry an assortment of specialized equipment for a mission, including electro-pulse projectors built into a cogitator gauntlet that project hololithic panes that float in the air for accessing data, as well as a menagerie of exotic weapons, including cyber eagles, IRATs, and of course their ubiquitous netfly swarms. And this is the end of the video. Thanks a lot for watching. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. I hope you had fun, and remember, no enemy of the Emperor is safe, and all their secrets will be used against them. Goodbye, my friends. We will see each other next time. Until then, keep the light of the Emperor burning.